Once upon a time, in a small town called Willow Creek, there lived a young girl named Elara. She was a bright and curious 12-year-old who loved to explore the world around her. Elara's house was tucked away at the edge of town, right next to an ancient forest that everyone said was enchanted. Her grandmother, who had lived with them until she passed away, always told stories of the forest's magic, but Elara never believed them, until one rainy evening changed everything. One stormy night, as lightning flashed across the sky and rain beat against the windows, Elara found herself exploring the dusty attic of her old house. She was searching for an old journal her grandmother had once mentioned. As she rummaged through piles of forgotten items, her flashlight beam fell upon something covered in a thick, faded cloth. Curious, she pulled the cloth away and found a tall, oval mirror with a wooden frame carved in intricate patterns of vines and flowers. Elara stared at the mirror for a moment. It was beautiful, yet something about it felt different. She reached out and brushed the surface with her fingertips. To her surprise, the glass rippled like water. Startled, she pulled her hand back, but her curiosity got the better of her. She touched it again, and this time she watched in awe as her reflection faded away, replaced by a dense forest scene that looked exactly like the one behind her house. She heard a whisper, faint but clear. "The key is in the roots. Find the truth." Elara blinked, and suddenly her reflection was back. She stumbled away from the mirror, her heart racing, but excitement bubbled up inside her. She grabbed her flashlight and dashed down to the edge of the forest. The rain had stopped, leaving the ground soft and slippery beneath her feet. The whisper in the mirror echoed in her mind. "The key is in the roots." She knelt down near an ancient oak tree, its roots twisting through the earth like the fingers of a giant hand. As she brushed away the leaves and soil, she discovered a small rusted key hidden in the roots. Elara held the key tightly, wondering what it might unlock. When she returned to the attic and faced the mirror again, she whispered, "I found the key. What now?" This time, the mirror's glass shimmered and changed, revealing a narrow stone archway framed by trees. Without thinking, Elara held the key in front of the mirror, and a soft green light enveloped her. The next moment, she found herself standing in the forest from the reflection, but it wasn't the forest she knew. This forest was filled with glowing plants, twinkling like stars, and gentle creatures that scurried between the trees. Elara felt a strange warmth in the air, like the forest itself was alive. She realized she had crossed into another world, one hidden beyond the mirror. The whisper came again, clearer this time. "Find the guardian. Seek the truth." She began to walk, following a path that seemed to appear beneath her feet. The air was thick with the scent of wildflowers, and she could hear the distant hum of a waterfall. After what felt like hours, she reached a glade where a magnificent silver wolf waited, its fur glinting in the moonlight. Elara's heart pounded, but the wolf's eyes were kind and knowing. "You have come," the wolf said, speaking in a deep, gentle voice. "The forest called you, child. It sensed your heart's curiosity and your grandmother's love for this land." Elara took a step closer, clutching the key tightly. "Why did the mirror bring me here, and what truth am I supposed to find?" The wolf dipped its head. "This forest holds memories of the past, and the mirror is a gate to them, but time here flows differently. Long ago your grandmother made a promise to the forest, one she could not fulfill before she passed. Now, that promise has been passed to you." Elara's eyes widened. "What promise?" "To protect this world from the shadow, a force that consumes light and hope. It has been waiting in the dark corners of this realm, feeding off the fears of your world," the wolf explained. "The key you hold can unlock the light needed to keep the shadow away, but only if you have the courage to face it." Elara felt a shiver run down her spine. Her grandmother had never mentioned anything like this. But as she looked at the key in her hand, she thought of her grandmother's stories, the kindness in her eyes, and how she always believed in things that others couldn't see. Elara knew what she had to do. "I'll do it," she said, her voice steady. "Tell me what I need to do." The wolf nodded, its silver fur rippling like water. "Follow the river to the Cave of Echoes. There you will find the shadow's heart. Use the key to unlock the light hidden within. But beware, the shadow will try to deceive you. It will show you things that aren't real, and you must hold on to the truth." With that, the wolf disappeared into the trees, leaving Elara alone in the glowing forest. She set off towards the sound of the rushing river, her heart pounding with fear and excitement. The path wound through dense woods and over ancient stones until she reached the mouth of a dark cave, the entrance framed by roots and rocks. Inside, the air was cold and still. Elara held the key tightly as she walked deeper, the shadows pressing in around her. Suddenly she heard a voice, her grandmother's voice calling her name, soft and gentle. She spun around, seeing her grandmother standing there, smiling. "Elara, come home. It's dangerous here." Elara's eyes filled with tears, but she remembered the wolf's warning. She took a deep breath and shook her head. "You're not real. You're just the shadow trying to trick me." At her words, the image of her grandmother twisted and changed, turning into a swirling darkness with eyes like burning coals. It lunged at her, but Elara held up the key, and a beam of golden light shot out, piercing the shadow. The cave filled with a warm, bright glow, and the darkness screamed, dissolving into mist. Elara felt a warmth spread through her chest as the golden light filled the cave. The ground trembled, and the walls of the cave began to change, turning into trees and sky. She was back in the glowing forest, but the air was different, lighter, full of hope. The silver wolf appeared again, its eyes filled with pride. "You have done it, Elara. The promise has been kept, and the forest is safe." Elara smiled, feeling a sense of peace. "But can I ever come back here?" The wolf nodded. "The mirror will remain a doorway for you. But remember, this world needs a protector. One day, you may be called back again." With those words, the forest began to fade, and Elara found herself back in her attic, the mirror standing before her. The key in her hand had turned into a small golden leaf, warm to the touch. She slipped it into her pocket, knowing that her adventure was far from over. From that day on, Elara kept the mirror's secret. Sometimes, on quiet nights, she would hear the forest calling to her, a reminder that magic still lingered just beyond the glass. And whenever she needed to, Elara knew that she could step through the mirror once more, into a world where courage, light, and the whispers of the past held the key to a brighter future.